All right, let's just jump right into this. The material we're analyzing today covers a genuinely fascinating dynamic. Really, it's the very pulse of the global economy. We're looking at the great U.S. oil paradox. It's this massive, multi-billion-dollar mystery that honestly, on its face, completely defies basic economic logic. Yet it fundamentally controls global energy markets and impacts everything from international trade balances to the price of the goods we buy every single day. So we're going to unpack exactly how this baffling system actually operates.
To really wrap your head around the sheer scale of this, I want you to picture an ordinary afternoon down at the port of Houston, Texas. You've got these massive, towering cranes constantly moving against the skyline, and the heavy sea breeze carries that distinct, sharp scent of crude oil. Now, at first glance, it just looks like your typical bustling industrial hub, right? Just business as usual. But right here at these specific docks, beneath all the noise and the routine logistics, one of the most counterintuitive economic paradoxes in the modern world is literally unfolding right in front of us.
Picture the striking contrast happening side by side in this single location. On one side, you have a massive supertanker loading up to the absolute brim with US-produced crude oil, getting ready to cross the Pacific on a long journey to places like South Korea and Japan. But simultaneously, and I mean literally right next door, another colossal tanker that just arrived from the Middle East and Canada is actively offloading millions of barrels of heavy crude right onto American soil. It's the exact same port, at the exact same time, with huge vessels executing perfectly mirrored but entirely opposite logistical operations.
You know, the source material describes this staggering daily operation perfectly. They call it two rivers of black flowing in opposite directions. It's just a brilliant and honestly kind of haunting metaphor. Just think about the sheer volume of capital and energy moving here. You have one massive river of oil surging outward, aggressively pushed into the global market, while another equally massive river floods inward, and they cross paths at this very port. We're talking about an unimaginable scale of international trade happening 365 days a year, basically hiding in plain sight on a random Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, so stepping back from the physical port for a second to look at the macro data, the number one tells a very powerful story here. The United States is the undisputed number one producer of crude oil in the entire world. They possess absolute market leverage. Driven by some truly massive technological advancements in extraction, the U.S. pumps out a staggering volume of oil daily. It's easily enough to theoretically achieve total energy independence, while still exporting massive, market-shifting quantities around the globe. They are at the absolute top of the production hierarchy.
But here's where logic gets completely flipped on its head. That exact same number one, it applies again. The United States is simultaneously the number one importer of oil in the world. Just let that sink in for a second. The world's biggest producer, the nation literally sitting on top of an ocean of domestic supply, is also the world's biggest buyer of foreign oil. It's a stark, absolute contradiction that completely defies our standard economic assumptions about self-sufficiency and trade.
This, of course, forces a glaring question. Why spend billions upon billions of dollars buying foreign oil when you already have record-breaking domestic supply right under your feet? I mean, from a basic supply and demand perspective, bringing in expensive international shipments when your own tanks are literally overflowing, it makes zero intuitive sense.
And immediately following that, if your domestic demand is so incredibly high that you're forced to import all this foreign oil, why on earth are you continuously selling off your own domestic supply to Asia and Europe? Why incur all the massive shipping costs, the tariffs, and the logistical headache of sending your oil away, only to turn around and buy someone else's oil to replace it? These two questions completely deepen the mystery of what we just witnessed at the Houston docks.
A paradox this massive simply cannot be explained by common sense alone. Beneath the surface, it's actually this highly complex, brilliantly engineered puzzle of refinery configurations, highly specific crude grades, and the intricate gears of global trade arbitration. So how do these two opposing rivers of black gold actually keep the global economy turning without, collapsing in on themselves? Unraveling the true mechanics behind this giant trade puzzle and understanding the quiet systems dictating global energy, well, that is the real key here. So, what do you say? Let's see where the data leads us next.